Hello everyone, good evening. We're gonna again talk about jinn and human sickness remedies in the light of the Quran and Sunnah, part 7. Innovated types of asceticism and worship. Another cause of the jinn gaining power over people is what some people do of reciting innovated words and zikrs, for which God has not revealed any authority. Some people sit alone in a darkened room, repeating a verse or one of the names of God in an innovated manner for a specific length of time, reciting it a certain number of times, and they think that this verse or this name has a severance, so they seek his help and call upon him. But they don't get up from their place before the devils have come to him and possessed him. Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said, in conclusion, the people of misguidedness and innovation, those who practice forms of asceticism and worship that are not prescribed in Sharia, who sometimes try to predict the future and have some influence, often go to the places where the devils are, places in which it is forbidden to pray, because the devils come to them there and talk to them, but some matter as they talk to the sus race. Jinn wronging a man. A jinn may harm a human wrongful for no purpose, as foolish people also do. Jinn falling in love with a human. A jinn may fall in love with a human and desire him, as happens between people, so he possesses him. Jinn punishing a human. A human may harm a jinn without realizing by falling on him, throwing a stone at him, urinating on him, or pouring hot water on him, so the jinn punishes him more than he deserves. Symptoms of jinn possession. Those who have written on this topic have listed several symptoms of jinn possession. These symptoms may be real, but we must point out that some of these symptoms may also occur for other reasons, such as staying up all night, or confusion and uncertainty. So we must try to protect ourselves from the whispers that the shaitan devil tries to instill in our hearts when reading this list of symptoms. These symptoms have been divided into two categories: those which occur when one is awake, and those which occur when one is asleep. Symptoms when one is awake. 1. Turning away, in particular from acts of worship and obedience, the remembrance of God, zikr, and reading Quran. God says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقِيضُ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ لَيَصُدُّونَهُمْ عَنِ السَّبِيلِ وَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. And whosoever turns away blindly from the remembrance of the Most Gracious God, meaning this Quran and worship of God. We appoint for him Shaitan devil to be a Kareem, a company to him, and verily the devils hinder them from the path of God, but they think that they are guided aright. 2. Erratic behavior in one's words, deeds, and movements. God says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور والذين كفروا أولياءهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. Those who eat riba will not stand on the day of resurrection except like the standing of a person beaten by shaitan devil, leading him to insanity. 3. Seizures with no medical cause. There are signs to indicate that seizure has devilish causes. 4. Paralysis of a limb with no medical cause. 5. Being quick to get angry or weep with no apparent cause. 6. Sitting in the toilet for a long time and talking to oneself. 7. Constant headache on one or both sides of the head with no medical cause, which is not eased by painkillers. 8. Irregular menstruation in women. 9. Not producing children although both husband and wife are medically sound and able to reproduce. There are other signs when one is awake, but they may be caused by other life circumstances, such as not succeeding in efforts to get married, repeatedly failing to do so, or a wife becoming very distressed when her husband has intercourse with her. Symptoms when one is asleep. 1. Frightening nightmares, which include seeing various kinds of creatures such as ghosts or apparitions, seeing oneself falling from a high place, seeing people in strange forms and snakes. A man may see a woman who wants him to have intercourse with her, and vice versa, constantly in his dreams, or he may see someone threatening him. 2. Insomnia, anxiety and fear upon waking. 3. Talking loudly in one's sleep or moaning and groaning. Note: a person should not be regarded as being possessed by the jinn if any of these symptoms occur. No one can be certain that a person has been possessed by the jinn until after the Quran has been recited over him, so these symptoms cannot be taken as definitive evidence of jinn possession. I praise God the Almighty for having helped me to complete this work, and I hope that God the Exalted will respect it and make my intention purely for His sake, and that He will reward me for this work of mine on the day when I meet Him, as He helped me to complete it in this life. By the grace of my Lord, this series has been well received by the slaves of God, and I hope that my Lord will respect it from me and be pleased with my work by His grace and kindness. May He forgive me for any shortcomings that exist in it. I hope that those who read this series will make dua supplication for Maram Fatani my future husband, my relatives, my family, my mother, my dad, my sisters, my brothers, and all Muslim people alive and dead, and all God creation alive and dead, and pray that God forgive us for our mistakes and our sins. May God bestow His mercy upon me and them by virtue of a righteous dua from a righteous slave. And I'm trying to be God's successor in the earth, and I'm gonna put it in the net so it will be like Sadaqa Jariyah, means God give good marks continuous to the people alive and dead people until the day of judgment. And the good marks goes to Maram Fatani, my family, my father, my mother, my sisters, my brothers, my future husband, my relatives, and all Muslim people, alive and dead people, and all God creations, alive and dead. Voice record Maram Fatani, Facebook name Maram Abdullah Fatani. واستودعكم الله الذي لا تضيع ودائعه.